The drama is about a happily engaged couple, Charlie and Emma, who, in the week leading up to their wedding, their whole life turns into chaos after Emma reveals a shocking secret from her past. This is a dark romantic comedy which blends the tones very well. This comes from director Kristofer Borglis, who also made Dream Scenario, another very creative and weird dark comedy which feels like it gets a little too ambitious for achieving its goals. I feel like Christopher's storytelling has greatly improved the drama as this movie completely nails what it's going for. Without spoiling the film, the movie sets out to explore topics which society is often too afraid to talk about, and he purposely makes us uncomfortable, which was achieved very well. So many times throughout the movie, I'm just absolutely cringing and feeling so much anxiety. It was very effective at making me feel the way that the director intended. In fact, throughout the whole movie, my audience was going crazy anytime anything got revealed. People were gasping. There was some old lady who kept going, "Oh my god." The third act, you could feel the tension and people absolutely losing it as the situation got more and more intense and uncomfortable. The topic at hand might cause some controversy, which is ridiculous because the film really handles the topic very well, isn't trying to make a simple statement or exploit the topic. Just walking out of my theater, I could hear so many different perspectives about the topic and morality of Emma, which I think is amazing that movie's able to get it's able to explore this topic really well and getting people talking about situations like this, which often people are too afraid to talk about. Even with how intense and uncomfortable the movie is, it is still a comedy and a very funny one at that. There's plenty of just average rom-com humor in the first act, which is done fine, but once the twist is revealed, the sheer awkwardness of everything made for some great comedy in a really fucked up kind of way. Like, the more uncomfortable I got, the funnier the movie became. Once the reveal happened and we get some flashbacks, you're wondering, okay, it's very dark. I'm not really sure if I can get on board for this as a comedy. And then the very next scene is such stupid wordplay, repeating the same little joke over and over again, and it's hilarious. And the whole theater, you can feel kind of the tension and the mood of the theater kind of change. Like, oh yeah, this is a funny movie. That's right. It's a very simple joke, but it's very funny and effective. The humor in the film is very effective because it never feels forced. As long as you can tolerate the awkwardness and cringe comedy, it's going to work for you really well. I think the editing in this film is incredibly unique. It's sporadic and creates an interesting pace going back and forth. Sometimes you're in the middle of a scene and we just go back to see something that happened earlier as we go into the mind of what the characters are thinking about. I feel like the editing was supposed to help us get into the mental headspace of the characters, and I think it was done incredibly well. Adds so much to the movie. The score was very subtle, but added a lot to the tone and pacing of the scenes. The sound design was pretty interesting. Emma is half deaf, and they use this sometimes, with over exaggerating certain sounds to match for the character's headspace. Kristofer Borglis seems like his main talent as a filmmaker is pissing me off, because both this and Dream Scenario, despite being good films, are successful at making me very mad. As a filmmaker, Borglis seems to want to focus on how people treat each other negatively, specifically for things out of their control. He wants to make us uncomfortable, and he's very good at creating conflicts feel natural and realistic. The characters in this film are great. Charlie is very interesting. Robert Pattinson brought out mixed emotions very well. He really feels like he's mentally at war with himself, conflicted about what he feels versus what he thinks he's supposed to do. I love how Pattinson brought how his extreme stress in his performance, like there's a vein just in his head and so he's about to explode during the third act. Emma, played by Zendaya, is fantastic without spoiling the movie. Her shame over her past is presented very well, and you can combine this with a deep, authentic love for Charlie, and her fear trying to put her past behind her is brought out very well. Zendaya completely nails this performance and feels like a real person. The character of Rachel is an absolute fucking unlikable bitch and is the real villain of the movie. Alana Haim is so great in this role. There's so much that she's doing which is just hilarious while still making me hate her. If I had to criticize the film, I feel like the overall structure isn't great. Most of the second act kind of repeats itself and it takes a while for the characters to actually start showing change and move along their arc. I saw a lot of reviews calling the ending abrupt, and I completely disagree. Personally, I think the last scene in the movie is kind of perfect. It feels very natural to what the movie had been setting up. It loops back to the moments from early in the film, some smaller moments of dialogue throughout to create an amazing ending, which was perfect for the characters and left the film on a very satisfying note. Obviously, for the touchy subjects, you're worried about how they are going to be presented in the film, and it's done very well. Thematically, it's more about mental health and morality of the idea behind the action. It takes the idea in a sympathetic light while still acknowledging the severity of the situation. But even then, the serious subject matter isn't what the movie is truly about. It's about how we judge others and are critical of others, of people's past, overlooking our own flaws. What this movie really boils down to thematically is a question of unconditional love. Would you still love me if I was a worm type of question, you know what I'm saying? Can we look past this very bad thing about our partner's past and accept them for who they are? I think this idea is explored beautifully in this film. Obviously, this film takes the idea to an extreme, but it's still made very clear that despite someone being flawed, there's still reason to love them. The drama is a very dark and funny film, which is perfectly able to explore the importance of loving a person despite their flaws. The drama gets a great, solid 9 out of 10. It's very good. Go watch it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. See you next time.